Welcome back to another episode of our message recap. How many weeks? 5?
This is week 5.
The 5th week of Better Than Ever.
Yep.
A series that we're doing.
We still got more to go.
We've still got more to go, but that's okay because there's a lot of steps we can take to make our relationship with God better than ever. So, but this week was a pretty hefty one. At least I feel, it's called Good Influences, but the premise is really watch who you hang out with. Yeah. And that's going to determine how close you get to God. Yep. Or that's going to be a determining factor in how close you get to God.
Yep. For sure. Usually when we talk about, at least when we talk about relationships with other people in church messages and even kind of the Christian world, it's always watch out for people who can pull you the wrong way. Yep. Which is true. Absolutely true. If you want to be in a stronger relationship with God, watch out for people who are going to pull you the wrong way. But I don't think we talk about very often people who are going to pull you the right way, who can keep you from drifting from God. And how important that is. So that was really that's a 30-second recap.
Well, and we've talked about this a lot in the past before, where it's kind of even not in regards to your relationship with God, but if you want to be a certain person, hang out with certain people that are the way you want to be. Yep. It's just kind of that the people that are close to you are going to influence your life.
Or people that are going that direction.
Yes.
Yeah. Then you can take the journey together, you know.
Yeah. No doubt.
What was the Victory Lane reference that you made? What series was that in?
Of course. That was, oh gosh, I don't even remember.
On the Spot.
I don't remember. I don't even remember what the reference was, but I remember talking about it.
It was about maintenance and why we don't.
Preventative maintenance.
We think it doesn't matter.
No, that's right.
We know it's true, but we think it doesn't matter. And you try to give a great warning in the message, and I think every one of us, we know that that's true for most people. We know it's true long enough, but for some reason we think it's not going to affect me. Yeah. It doesn't matter. It does matter. As a matter of fact, global, even bigger in our culture, in our society, you talk about like different privilege. People have money privilege or white privilege or whatever it might be. There is an element of the neighborhood you grow up in will affect you. Yeah, it will. Unless you have great parenting or your home is more powerful than your neighborhood. But it is this principle that if everybody in my school is doing this, if everybody in my school doesn't care, if everybody in my school, then I am going to be like that because we are going to be like the people we spend the most time with. It's just a fact. But sometimes I think so many of us, yesterday during that message, I think so many of us, I personally want to go closer to God. I believe that the closer I am, the better I am. The closer I get, the better I am. I believe that, but it doesn't matter for me. I don't really have to.
I'm not willing to take a step.
My intentions, I believe my intentions. And how can it be more clear? We actually believe our intentions, don't we?
Yes.
We believe our intentions are more powerful than influences. And if we would just listen to that, and I'm talking me too. Yep. If we want to change our lives, if we want our lives to be better than ever, if we want to experience God more than ever, then this is something we have to do. And even a little bit, this whole series, if we would apply these simple truths, the simple things, talking to God, reading the Bible, being around people that are, these things will change our life. It all comes down to this. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? It does matter. It will make a difference.
Walk out the door and get on to Mother's Day?
I don't know. It's just,
it's probably what most people did.
Here's a frustrating part for you. As you're trying to, with all the passion you have, to convince us of something, but you can't control what we do. Yep. You can't. Yep. And so that's where trusting God comes in. You as a speaker have to trust God that he's going to do his thing. But for all of us.
I had 12 people come up to me the week before and talk about Jack's Pizzas. So that was cool. They were listening to that. Yeah. Guess how many people came up and talked to me this week about, what, I think I'm going to, that's a good idea. I should really get into a small group.
Sad.
Not 12?
Hey,
Not
let's talk about this.
Okay.
I just
It was a
mentioned
little
Under. Okay.
every one of us sitting here, well, absolutely part of our testimony, part of where we are in our relationship with God today is absolutely linked to our making a decision in our lives to be involved in small groups.
Yeah.
And the advantage we have is working at the church is that
This is a small
this
group.
is a small
Yep,
group.
yep,
I
yep.
mean, we spend a lot of time talking. We spend a lot of time talking about what God wants and His
Yep.
desires and His. So this is a small group by itself. But hey, I'm going to be 61 years old, and ever since I've been a Christian. I know that's old. Ever since I've been a Christian at my early to mid 20s, I have been in a small group. You can call it, it's changed its name over the years from accountability group to small group to Bible study, whatever. But even to this day, you mentioned in the message that you're in a couple of small groups. I'm in like 4 small groups now, even to this day.
Yeah.
Why? And you know what you think, oh, Kevin, you're there for them. No. We are there for each other.
Yep.
There's no doubt about it. I am still, one particular small group, there's 4 other guys besides me. I've asked those guys to be in a group with me 10 years ago for me, just for me. And these guys were kind enough to say, yeah, we all benefit from it, but just for me, that I stay on track, that I am motivated, that everything you read, that, you know, this idea of to be encouraged, to be corrected, to be pulling. I love that. Just put that in your mind. That will be with me forever. That rope being pulled. I want to go that way. You know what? I have friends
Who
that
aren't going to let me.
They keep the tension.
Yeah.
They don't force, but there's tension there. There's a pull there to always go the right way. Do you realize what that's worth? That is so valuable in our lives.
Well, that's where you took it a step further in this message, where before we talk about, have good influences around you. Well, this was geared towards like, be around people that are going to give you the nudge and drag you when they see that you need it. Where it's that is a good friend. A good friend is somebody who's not.
Hey, you're being dumb right now.
Yeah. You need to shape up.
Yep.
Yeah, when they can call you out, that's for sure. Or at least come to you and say, "Hey, I'm noticing this."
Why would you want to be surrounded by yes men friends? No. That's not a good friendship.
Right.
You want somebody who challenges you.
Right.
Oh boy.
And encourages. And
both.
strengthens.
Yeah.
And,
all of the above.
yeah.
That is a good influence.
Where, at each one of us, matter of fact, you can do this. Ask yourself right now, where would I be today? Where would my life be? What would my life look like today if I had never been committed to friendships, small groups we're calling them, doing life together that they're going towards God? Where would I be today? I'm not even sure I would be a Christian.
I can tell you there's enough people that we've both seen.
Yeah.
They're not.
Yeah.
They're not. They've totally walked away from God.
So we never get too knowledgeable or too mature or too close to God that we say, I don't need that anymore. Impossible.
So would you be as bold to say that coming to church alone on Sunday morning is simply not enough?
Yes. It's a good start.
Yeah.
I would say it's the last thing. You need to tell yourself, if I let go of this, I most likely will be gone.
Yeah.
That is the last. When
That
people
is that
leave
last
church,
connection to God.
Yeah, for
is
sure.
that church connection. If I stop going to church regularly,
So what's
Give
And
it-
you don't
give it
lose
6 months.
You don't lose it the next day or the
no,
next week.
give it 6 months.
so
and
what's the series of disconnect then that you normally see?
Usually what I've seen personally is people leave church and for some reason, we just briefly touched on this, but we've bought into the idea that my relationship with God is a private matter, which is a total BS lie. But beyond that, people usually leave church and then they think they'll still be close to their friends at church and they think they'll still be close to God, and usually
Yeah.
both of those fail.
So leaving the church is like the number one step you normally see. It's not.
there's different people.
I think the majority of the time that's what I've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's usually steps.
But usually
leading up
those
to that,
people
though,
are
right?
rarely in a small group to begin with.
Yeah.
Usually you can see them start to pull away from like where they were super volunteered and add everything to they start pulling, like maybe they still come on Sundays often, but they're not doing anything else. And then
Yeah.
they start coming less often, but they're still
Yeah.
here. And like, so there's usually some warning signs.
And I think that leaving church is that last straw. If you are an engaged Christian person that's into the mission, you love God, you're really connected, you're probably giving, you're probably serving, you're probably in a small group, you're probably attending church regularly. And if, and it can be anything from being mad at somebody to having, you mentioned a project, we're building an addition on our house, my daughter's getting married. It can be almost anything, to a new hobby, or we just bought a motorhome or a cabin. Any one of those things. And the detach happens, well, I can't make it to small group, but I'll still go to church. I can't make it to small group anymore. You know what? I can't volunteer I got to take the summer off from volunteering. And then it kind of fades into, well, you know what? We're going to give less. Oh, we're still going to give, but we're not going to give that much. And it's just
slow fade.
It's a slow burn, man. It is. And I think that every one of us should just put on our dashboard these red lights. We call them idiot lights, you know, that, hey, when I
Idiot
stop
lights.
doing these things, this warning should tell me something. I am on a slow burn. Give it a year and I won't be going to church anymore.
I do not know anybody who comes to church regularly, serves, gives, invites, does all these steps
Small group.
that drifts from God.
No.
Not one person.
You can't if you're doing that.
Yeah.
You're connected. It's your life. That's where you are. That's where your heart is. Oh, a guy that his name is Jesus.
Did he say something about that?
He did. He said, "Hey, where your money is, your heart is. Where your time is, where your heart is." And you know what?
Interesting.
It's really cool that where you
I should go look
engaged-
him up.
He's his
Oh, he's got a incredible
couple
saying.
good
Oh
quotes.
man, he's a great.
his proper
teacher.
name is Yeshua.
Yeah, sure.
Yeshua.
Yeah.
What would you say, keeping on the subject line of influences,
Yep.
and this isn't a shot at anybody who does this, but just kind of like a tip to someone who says, well, my family does home church. We do home church together. What would you say to them in the realm of you need influences?
Is this somebody that I'm generally close to and like good friends with?
No. I'm just...
This is just anybody.
just in general.
Okay, let me tell you what I'd say.
Because I've talked to people and I know people that we do home church.
I'm going to do my own surgery too. I'm taking out my appendix.
Oh my gosh.
Let me tell you what I'd say to somebody I was real close friends with and could just be real honest with them.
Oh boy.
Beep.
Well, inbreeding is also a thing.
Oh jeez.
So, I mean, you can, but like eventually, if you don't get any
So what?
outside influence,
So what would be your
that ain't going to be very healthy down the road.
Your difference words, not your point words. that
Oh,
you'd
make
say
a
to
difference
somebody.
words.
Yeah.
I would say we need people outside of family. Can be so comfortable, and there's so many like there can be such unhealthiness in family where we're not honest with each other.
Yeah.
that can spill over into our relationship with God, and we don't challenge each other. We don't hold each other accountable. There's some weird family dynamics that I think when you get outside of that realm with friends, I think they can challenge your relationship with God.
So those influences
Better than
that,
family.
that are going to pull us are
I think
essential.
it
Yep.
goes back to iron sharpening iron.
Yeah,
That
okay.
We need disagreements, different views, different, that
Oh yeah,
rub
sometimes
us.
your whole family's just all.
I think
the same.
the more that we isolate ourselves, whether it's a family that isolates themselves, a church that isolates themselves, even could be like that. But an individual who anybody, you slowly get narcissistic, right? We talk about it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You slowly get like off base. You just turn, and pretty soon you're off in weird la la land. I mean, you just are. It looks right to you, but you got to get back and take a bigger view of things than your own little group, your own little thoughts.
And a lot of times, people that are outside of that realm, you get a 30,000 foot view of it when you're friends with people, and you can see, I can see
Yes.
that clearly. And when you're in it, you don't see it at all.
Everyone who submits himself to that will grow and mature. They will.
Being trapped in family dysfunction is a very dangerous thing.
Well, because family dysfunction seems normal.
Yep.
You know?
It
Yeah.
does.
to the family for sure.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Boy. Boy, that's a different episode I could talk about for a real long time.
I got to add this. It's a great time to have this message because any time is a good time to have this message. But as far as us as a church, summertime is not the biggest time to be joining small groups, unfortunately. There are still some that you can join, but I would hope that everybody would put on their calendar and
Both
plan.
my groups are just going to hang out all summer.
Yeah, my group is going to just meet once a month instead of twice a month, and some other groups are. So there's still opportunities, but join one now, or at least put on your schedule, put on your calendar. In September, we are joining a small group.
And actually, right now would be a great time to join because now you're just getting together with people and hanging out.
Those are my favorite small group nights. Are the ones where you just hang, because ultimately, we want to learn and we want to be going through whatever we're going through for a trimester. But you building relationships within the small group
so good
to me is one of the most important parts of it. So
and it's impossible to be around, even if there's no agenda. It's impossible for us to hang around and we're not growing and challenging. And Dave, before we went on, Dave was just talking about something his life's going on. Like, wow, we're connecting and we're growing just by visiting. Yeah.
for sure.
okay.
There you go.
So what's your 30-second takeaway?
Be in a group.
Be in a small group.
Yep.
That's what you would say. And not even like plug wise, not even like we want to boost the small group numbers. You would say that is the most important step for somebody to take right now.
Yep.
Join a small group.
Join a small
Well,
group.
it's not for us.
Yeah. Join a group. It is super important protection for your relationship with God.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go.
There you go. Join a small group. If you haven't watched the message, it's called Good Influences. Pop up here in a second. Check that out. And we got 3 weeks to go on this series. More fun steps to come to make your relationship with God better than ever. So come back next week. We'll see you then.